Hollywood production is finally showing signs of life. I don't know if I agree with that. LA saw a roughly 10% increase in shoot days to start 2026. I don't know how exciting that is. Honestly, like, I don't feel any of that 10% increase. I don't think anyone is feeling results of that immediately. All that shit takes time to trickle down, certainly to get down into like a non-camera union guy like myself. Little asterisk there. Still, production levels trail historic norms. That's what I'm talking about. It's never gonna come back. Shoot days in the first quarter are nearly 30% below the 5-year average. Sure, it's an uptick, but only an uptick from the worst of the worst. So the figures show an escalating slide in production over the last decade, with shooting in the region sharply plummeting in 2023, just like I've been saying. That's why the strike started, all with the writer's strike. Right? A lot of it was like, yeah, sure, AI this, AI that. But a lot of it too was because of the streamers, the new media deals. That was really why the writers originally wanted to go on strike and renegotiate things. Actors and writers alike, and the WGA and SAG, remember, keep in mind, I've been a member of SAG since 2011, right? So I know all this stuff from like a insider view. This new media deal thing had been an ongoing problem, right? Because Netflix was constantly blowing up, and actors and writers were feeling that because Netflix, being a streamer, had what is called a new media deal. So in other words, me being a SAG actor, right? Like if I audition and I got like 5 lines, like a walk-on, like a day player or whatever, it depends on the actual budget, but roughly, usually you could expect to get $1,200 for the day. But the problem is, the shows on Netflix was nowhere near that $1,200 thing. I was in a pilot, a Hulu pilot, and actually we did more than the pilot. We did the first 8 episodes. I was in 6 of the 8 episodes, a recurring character, one of the main characters. My rate was nowhere near what it should have been, and it was a SAG show. We were all SAG on that. It was all SAG contract. Why? Because it was new media. Hulu was new media, just like Netflix was. And so the rates would be like a quarter of what you would normally get if you were lucky. So this is what I'm saying. This was always a thing. The big powers to be obviously do not want to renegotiate that, because to them, that's a huge win. They're like, hell yeah, dude, we only got to pay all these SAG guys a quarter of what they would normally get. This is amazing. That's what really led to the strikes, right? We need to renegotiate for all of these things. And I guess the AI is really what was the tipping point. Now it came down to the point where the writers stood, AI was taking their jobs. It's a problem with the streamers, and it still hasn't been corrected. Petapixel dropped this here. Sony is making a massive cinema camera image sensor. So none of this trickles down immediately, but historically, today's flagship tech becomes tomorrow's FX series features. So whatever they make for whatever big thing, it does eventually trickle down into the smaller cinema cameras, and the FX5 is right around the corner. Sony Alpha Rumors predicts that Sony is going to drop the announcement of the FX5 on July 22nd. Anyway, Sony has announced the development of the Rialto 65. It's a new 65mm format image sensor block designed to expand the capabilities of its Venice 2 cinema camera platform, scheduled for release in the first half of 2027. All right, that's going to be insane for the big boy shoots, right? Like, we already know that. And there you go, one of the largest cinema sensors ever made.
Are we rolling?
How do you know if it's rolling?
I'm Sam, and this is Katie, and we're here at Sony's Digital Media Production Center in Los Angeles.
You know what's crazy? Like, everyone gives me shit about how, like, you know, like, oh, I don't add enough contrast to my stuff, and oh, this and that. Everyone talks garbage, right? Not everyone, but like half the audience. And then, you know, this is made by Sony Cine channel. That's literally the name of the channel, Sony Cine. And just look at their video. How is this elevated at all? Like, they're talking about one of the, literally, the headline is one of the largest cinema sensors ever made, and their video looks like trash. I'm sorry, but it does.
This is the last 101 video we brought you, including a major upgrade to our studio.
We're here in our virtual production lab, and this is our crystal LED wall designed.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the lighting isn't good. Like, the lighting is not good at all, right? You know what I mean? Like, nothing is good about the way this looks. Nothing is crisp. It looks like it has a dehancer look laid on it. I don't know. It just seems like a weird way to make a video about one of the largest cinema sensors ever made. Like, I get it. You're on an LED wall. That's exciting. But the light, like, this video doesn't look good. Like, it doesn't look like it's lit well or anything. Like, look at the shadows on the close-up of the camera menu. This is crazy. Am I losing it? Am I being too harsh here? I don't think so, right? Not when you think about the criticism that a little channel like mine gets. And yet we let Sony City get away with this trash? I'm sorry, but this does not look good. I don't even want to continue watching it. I guess the point of it, features that are in whatever their high-end stuff, it does trickle down. You know, the Big 6 menu is a prime example of that. Something as simple as that, but yet so fun to use. And honestly, something that was in the original Arri. That's been on the Arri cameras for years, the Big 6 menu. It's like, we couldn't copy something so simple as that. You know what I mean? But either way. But that's just an example of how things do trickle down into the smaller mirrorless FX cinema bodies, right? Hybrid film cameras refuse to die. CineLux 16 hybrid cinema film camera. I saw this at Cinegear too. It's like basically like digital combined with 16 millimeter. They also have like a direct Big 6 menu. This is like a direct ripoff of how Arri's cameras are, you know, because we were just talking about the Big 6. And then these guys, the first thing they do, they put on their camera. CineLux states that it should cost less than a used Arri 416 package. Being billed as a truly hybrid Super 16 film camera that has its very own digital cinema sensor built in. It features a 3K Super 16 sensor that records the CF Express Type B media in many usable codecs, so you have instant digital proxies, as well as a true-to-life film feed while shooting. It is gnarly. I love it. You basically can shoot film and digital at the same time. I think it's what Kodak should have done with their remake of the Super 8 camera. Yeah, look how much this camera is. It's $5,500 and it's a Super 8, but guess what? It can't do digital at the same time. You can monitor it like you would a digital camera, but it doesn't actually record any digital codec, right? It still only does Super 8 film. And they still wanted $5,500. Like literally Kodak got laughed at by many people because of it. Like this thing was a huge bomb. I think they could have got this crazy price of $5,500 if they would have figured out a way to do the digital proxies along with the Super 8. Like that would have made way more sense for the price tag. Kind of like what the CineLux guys are doing with the 16 mil film. I think it's genius. I have been requested twice on 2 separate occasions. People expect me to have a 16 millimeter camera, and I just don't. So yeah, I guess that brought up the question of why are filmmakers still chasing the film feeling instead of simply shooting film? See, I used to have a Super 8, like a really awesome Super 8, a Leica one, and I sold it. A lot of it because like, it was like collecting dust. Where the Super 8 really catches up to you is in the back end, on the developing end, you know, that whole rigmarole. It's the processing, the developing, yeah, the conversion to digital. That all adds up. It's like $100 per cartridge, you know, and each cartridge is only like 3 minutes. So it's like, oof, you know, $100 for 3 minutes, you know, it gets a little gnarly. So it just ended up collecting dust. And yeah, that was the main reason why I flipped it. It's like, yeah, everyone wants to look, you know, like the video I just put out on this week's Freeway Life. I ran into a guy in Pasadena who was like, you know, he's so excited. He was getting a Leica M6. He's like, yeah, I want that hardcore film look. I'm like, dude, you don't have to spend $3,000 on a film camera to get the hardcore film look. It's film. Like, a lot of people don't understand that. Like, in terms of analog cameras, it's just a box, you know? The film is what gives it the hardcore film look. If you had a bunch of cameras and all had the same exact film stock in it and all had the same exact settings, the image would be literally identical. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like the guy in the street, he didn't understand it. But see, he was still thinking backwards because he even slipped up and he said something about the sensor. I'm like, sensor? These cameras don't have sensors, dude. One of the reasons why I like the film so much is because I don't really mess with it because I just take it as it is. A lot of it, you know, a lot of things I suffer with, you guys know, because of my color blindness. Well, with the film, you get what you get, man. Each one of these film stocks I look at as little tiny sensors because that's really what it is. Each film stock is a different color science. Just like the way how a Sony sensor is different from a Fuji sensor, right? It's like, you know, the modern digital cameras, that's the film stock is the sensor. The problem is the processing. You know, film takes a lot more time on the back end. Then you got to scan it. Are you going to let somebody else scan it? Or are you going to learn how to scan your film? You know, and it's a big to do. It is so much work. And then you got the negatives. Are you just going to throw the negatives away? Why? That's such a waste of money, right? You're already paying for the film. You're paying for the processing. You're paying for the developing. Why would anyone just throw the negatives away? That's the one thing that's basically like throwing away all your raw footage. Like, who does that? No, you wouldn't delete your raw footage. You would keep your raw footage forever, right? So now you got to keep the negatives. But now you got to figure out, you got to cut those up. You got to organize those. You got to label those. You know, it's like, wow, it is so much work just to get one frame. And I think that's the real reason why people abandoned film. It's fun, but it is a lot of work. The only thing that I have found that is worth it to me is shooting with the Eastman XX, the black and white film. To me, that is the only thing that makes it work. Because with the color film, I have since slowly evolved back to shooting color on digital because it's just like color film doesn't really do it for me the way that the black and white does it for me. For some reason, I don't know why, maybe I drank the Kool-Aid, but black and white film clicks in my brain. It makes sense. I've never seen a black and white digital photo and thought that looks like film. Never, right? A black and white film photo, you know instantly what you're looking at. There are cheaper color films that go, oh yeah, that's got that weird film look, but that's because it's a cheaper color film, right? If you have something really high-end, like a high-end Fujifilm or a Portra 400 or something, or there's one called Prism 200, those films are so good, they're almost too good, in my opinion, of someone that's like chasing that film look, you know? It's like, what's the point of that? You might as well just shoot digital. And that's kind of where I've come full circle. The color film don't really move the needle for me like it used to, you know what I mean? But black and white still does. But I think that's the real reason why people are still choosing to go like the film, because nobody actually wants to shoot film. I don't think anyone actually really wants to shoot film. Unless you're like, unless it's like the beginning for you and you're like hyped, you're like, yes, I'm getting into film, because then you are genuinely excited. Anyone will be genuinely excited if they're getting back into shooting film or if they're shooting it for the very first time ever. It is exciting. But I think that excitement fizzles out.